out, we'll do the mudra, which is a pretty simple one. It's just connecting all the fingers together at the solar plexus. So if you were here yesterday, then you'll remember that. We're going to do the same mudra, the same mantra, which is so hum. And it's 2 Sanskrit syllables that translate to I am that. And in the yoga tradition and in some of the ancient texts, that concept, I am that, or I am, is a concept of connection. It's a concept of connection to something greater than ourselves, to ourselves. And in general, when we step onto our mat, it's a chance to connect internally and really tune into what's happening for ourselves. And of course, that's what our yoga practice is a tool for really connecting and checking in and being present in this moment. So the mudra, the mudra, the mantra, so hum. So let's go ahead and come back to our mats. And we'll take a comfortable seat. And the awesome thing about the chakras is it's a reminder to set yourself up in everything that you do, whether it's on your mat or it's off your mat, but to set yourself up from the root up. And then it's a continuous cycle, always returning to the root and moving up through the chakras. And sometimes we experience a chakra that is not as open as another chakra, and that's really very normal. It's very normal to experience a place that doesn't feel as open, that is harder to sense sometimes, because from the heart up, it's a lot more subtle and it's harder to sense. However, I had a person in yesterday in meditation who mentioned that every time she focuses on the chakras in meditation, that her entire head feels like it's resonating with purple, which I think is really cool. I don't experience colors. I have to draw the colors in. But then when she tries to focus down low at the root, it's really hard to sense. And I was like, oh, so interesting. So really to take in the fact that your own experience is your own experience, but the whole purpose of your experience, especially with the chakras, is to help you connect with yourself and help you connect with others. So to really respect the gift of whatever the experience is sometimes the challenge. But it's an awesome thing. So let's go ahead and move sitting bones and feel the connection right down at the root. You can move a little bit. So this is the place in our bodies that we can often experience more easily to actually feel the connection that you have with the ground or whatever you're sitting on. And then notice up into the pelvis and tilt a little forward and back. That's tuning into the second chakra. And then up into the solar plexus at the low ribs, gently draw them in. This helps you also to fill into the back body. This helps with the kidney area. And then the heart, lift the heart up and think of broadening through the collarbones. They actually can move out to the side because it's not just one bone, it's multiple. So move them broad, lengthen the back of the neck, let the eyes close. And then as you notice the crown here, as you notice right up at the top of the head, you can have your eyes move to the third eye, which is sometimes a helpful thing to recognize and notice the crown, and bring the fingertips to connect right in front of your solar plexus here. This mudra, this pressing of all the fingertips and creating this orb is a gesture of wholeness or completeness. You might say to yourself, well, I don't feel whole or I don't feel complete. You don't have to feel whole or complete to tap into that ability to connect with the whole, to connect to whatever feelings are there. But instead, it's the action of trying to tap into it that helps us start to notice little bits of wholeness. Tap into that window of opportunity to recognize that we are always present and whole and there, even if we can't recognize it completely. Take a couple deep breaths, and as you inhale, notice your breath move from the crown to the tail, And as you exhale, notice it move from tail to crown. Add in the mantra, inhaling so, exhaling hum. For 2 or 3 more rounds of breath, bring in this mantra if you would like. Then as you press palms together at the heart in Anjali Mudra, take a deep breath in and lengthen. Deep breath out and bow towards your own heart center. And now you can softly open your eyes if you want to, or keep your eyes closed as you release your hands down and lengthen through the crown of your head. Begin to move through your head and your neck here, tapping into that throat chakra. As you take ear to shoulder, you can start to recognize and notice anything showing up for you around the neck, even into the shoulders and the upper back. All the chakras are connected. So if you have one area that's tense and tight, then moving through it might affect something else that's connected. As you take your head over to the right side, keep it there and roll your left shoulder down your back a few times. Again, you're welcome to keep your eyes closed here if you would like to. This is a really wonderful way to stay tuned into what's present inside. Inhale back up to center and exhale left ear to left shoulder and move your right shoulder down your back a few times. Then inhale back up to center. Hands come to connect in front of you. Pull forward with your arms and round in through your upper back. Your chin tucks in. And from here, you can either move through your shoulders or move through your head. So you can always shake your head no here, or you can add that side to side sway through shoulders, or both, maybe a combination. Then inhale, sit tall, releasing your hands, take them behind your back to clasp. Press palms together, lift your shoulders up and back. And again, from this place, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. I like to re-engage the opposite shoulder blade each time I take my head to the side. But you can just take ear to shoulder if you would like. And now back to center, switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself, and move your sitting bones. And now hands come to your upper thighs, right at your hip creases, and give a push down, anchoring your legs, anchoring through the femur bones, and then add a little bit of movement through your pelvis. So we're doing both rooting and we're finding some fluidity with our hips. So first and second chakra. And then as you come back into center, take left fingertips to the floor beside your hip. Take your right arm up and over your ear, and then work as deeply into a side stretch as your body needs. Rooting through your sitting bones, expand and open through your right ribs. Then take your right hand to the back of your head and send your head back into your hand. Put both shoulder blades onto your back. Open your right elbow up as much as your body is ready for. Take a big, deep breath. Inhale back up to center. Right fingertips to the floor beside you. Left arm reaches up and over. And again, push. Expand into your left ribs, even as you keep both sitting bones planted. Work your way out as far as you need to go. And then take your left hand to the back of your head and press your head back. Open up with your elbow. Put both shoulder blades on your back. Take a full breath. Inhale back up to center, and now shift forward onto hands and knees. And as you come to hands and knees, we're going to do a little bit of movement through the head and neck again. So shift your hips back toward your heels. They don't have to come all the way back. Your head sets down on something. Sometimes if your hips are a little higher, it's easier to come to your head on the floor, but you're always welcome to have your hips further back and your head on a block or your hands. But then move side to side here through your hips. And let your head move. So you're giving a little massage over your forehead, tapping into the third eye. And then from wherever you are with your head on the ground or on something, now we're going to go forward and back. So you're rolling onto the crown a little bit. And you can always switch that so it's a blanket here, so it's softer. But as you have your head down, you're going to lift your hips and roll onto the crown and then back. Onto the crown and then back. A couple of times. A little massage through the skull, but also a little stretch through the neck and through the backs of your shoulders and your upper back. One more time. And now gently rise up with your head, and remember that this is a place where you might have a head rush, so take it nice and slow. And then set yourself up onto hands and knees, and from hands and knees, take a couple of movements in a cat and cow, moving through all 7 chakras. Tilting the tail, moving all the way up the spine through to the crown. As you move a couple times here, allow for the movement on the inhale and the exhale to start at the base, to start at the root. Think of a wave-like motion as it starts at the root, at your tail. Allow it to slowly move through your spine, all the way through the neck and the crown. One more time here. Full breath in and out. Then inhale back into center, root down through the 4 corners of your palms and all your fingertips. Rotate elbow pits forward and push, expanding into the upper back. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. Take a big breath. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take as many steps as you need. Use blocks here if you would like. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips. Push into your feet. Squeeze your glutes and inhale, lift your heart up. All the way up to stand. Turn your palms forward. And from here, take ear to shoulder a couple of times. Then inhale, reach your arms so you have that wide place for your arms, reaching out at a diagonal. Plug in with your shoulder blades. Next inhale, lift your heart up a little higher, tiny bit of a back bend, but engage your low belly and your low ribs to support it. One more big inhale here. Exhale, bring hands through heart center to fold. Knees are bent. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. As you fold in, knees are considerably bent. Let the back of your neck get long. Let the crown reach toward the ground. And take a full breath. And now plant your fingertips. You're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Inhale, reach up and rise, coming to that wide place for your arms. Plug in with your shoulder blades, center off your hips. Take a big inhale, heart lifts, Tone your belly, tone your low ribs. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Walk your hands to the inside. You can always travel here with blocks. Pivot on your feet, coming to that wide stance fold place. Notice pinky toe edges parallel to each other. Lift and spread your toes. Send your sitting bones up, and then fold over your legs as deeply as your body needs. That might be resting forearms or hands on something here. Take a moment for a full breath. Let your breath move through your body like a wave. Inhale, extend your heart. And now this time we're going to do something we don't usually do. We're going to pivot toward the back of our mat. So you're going to turn maybe away from me. That's okay. Into this lunge in the other direction. We're going to stay with hands on the ground. Extend your heart and center off your hips. Take a big, deep breath. And now pivoting again, coming back to that wide stance place at the right side. Take a full deep inhale. Long, full exhale, grow long. And we're going to take a wide stance, but also a short stance, down dog. So hands can be on blocks for this, or they can be on the floor. But you're going to walk your hands out and send your hips up and back. Take a big, full, deep breath. Think of your spine being in line all the way through to the crown. So instead of looking back, keep your neck in line. Inhale, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders and then pivot toward the front of your mat. Step all the way back to a downward facing dog pose. Take a deep breath. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Feel free to use knees on the ground. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Grow longer through your front. Think of extending through your collarbones. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, root into the ground and rise up as high as your body needs to go. Coming into your height cobra. Maybe close your eyes here, but find length through your spine, all the way through the crown. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Big breath. Now step right foot forward in between your hands. You might need to bring your back knee down to get it there. That's okay. But then lifting it up if it's in your practice, and then reach up. Coming to that lunge on the second side, rotate your hips so that they're aimed forward. Settle in, reach, plug in with shoulder blades. Now, as you lift your heart up, also support your back body. Low belly, low ribs engage. Big breath. Exhaling, hands come all the way back down to the ground. And then work your hands to the inside. Start to find that pivot. Coming to your wide stance, facing the left. As you take this wide stance this time, turn your toes just a little bit more inward. So it's almost like you're pigeon-toed. Send your sitting bones up, and as you exhale, fold as deeply as your body is ready for. Maybe walking your fingertips behind, maybe holding onto the outsides of your shins. Take a big, full breath. Then inhale, extend your heart. Exhale again, we're going to turn to the back of our mats. Coming to that low lunge on the second side, extend your heart, center with your hips. Big, deep inhale, long, full exhale. Then as you pivot back to the wide stance fold facing the left, we're going to take that wide down dog again, walking your hands out. Again, they can be on blocks here if that feels the best. And as you lift your sitting bones up, think of rotating your elbow pits, maybe feeling that broadening through your upper back, keeping a little lift through your low ribs. Big deep breath. And then walk your hands back in underneath your shoulders and pivot to the front of your mat and step all the way back, downward facing dog. Big deep breath. Lower knees all the way down, hips to heels. Take a child's pose and take a full breath. Maybe setting your head down. And now we're going to come to our rabbit pose. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see, but you can, again, always have something underneath your head here, like a blanket or a block, but we're going to roll onto the tops of our heads, and we're going to hold that for a few breaths. So as you come to this, just recognize that if it doesn't feel good to be in this pose, you can always come to a child's pose instead. So we reach back for our heels, and inhale, lengthen as much as you can. Exhale, round into your cat, and then hinge, setting your head down. Inhale, lift your hips and roll onto your head. Take a big deep breath and keep your head and neck in line. No turning your head to look. Big full breath. Exhale, hips back to your heels. You can reach your arms out for your child's pose for a moment. And just let a little compression happen here with your belly against your legs if that feels good. Or you can take your knees wider. That's okay as well. And now one more time with our rabbit pose. And this is where you can choose to do it, or you can choose to come to a child's pose instead. So holding on to your heels. Inhale, lift up as tall as you can. Exhale, round through your spine. Hinge at the hips. Forehead comes down, and then rock onto the top of your head. Hips lift. Take a big, deep breath. And exhale, hips come all the way back down. And inhale, slowly rise up. Legs come off to the side as you come all the way down to your sitting bones. Now, we're going to take that wide leg position, only sitting this time. So if you want to, you can turn sideways on your mat. So wide legs here, reach out through your heels, toes point up. And you get to decide how wide is right for your body. If you find that sitting up doesn't work and you start to round through your back, maybe take it a little more narrow or sit your hips up on something. And if you do that, make sure to put something underneath your knees as well. So move sitting bones and then push heels down and notice the direction of your toes straight up. Oftentimes when we come to a wide position, either our toes turn in or they turn out, okay? So I want you to find that control all the way through your legs for toes to be up. Now, fingertips to the floor behind you, lift up and open through your chest, expanding. You can close your eyes here if you would like to, and take a big, deep breath, allowing your breath to move the length of your spine. Long spine, aware of where your toes are. If it's in your practice, you can start to hinge from the hips and walk forward with your hands. But notice if your feet start to follow you. You're going to anchor down through your heels, turn your toes up. Find that place for yourself. And that might mean that you come out really far and notice that your toes are turning with you. So then walk back a little ways. Take a big, deep breath. Inhale, gently rise all the way back up. And then you're going to use your hands to support you, to bring feet into your butterfly. You might scoot your hips closer to your feet, or you might have your hips a little further away. Feel free to add that roll of blanket over the tops of your feet and underneath your legs if you want. You don't have to. And then from this place, fingertips behind you again to press down and lift up tall. Reach back and move sitting bones. Take a couple big breaths right here, recognizing, noticing what this place is like for you. And then if you would like to, if it's in your practice, you can walk your fingertips forward. You can always hold on to your blanket or your feet and let your elbows rest against your calves. Find where your spine can be really long and where your breath can be full. And maybe close your eyes here and notice your breath move through your entire spine, all the way from crown to tail and from tail to crown. And inhale, gently rise back up. And footprints to the ground, knees are lifted. And make your way all the way onto your back. And from your back, right knee into your chest, squeeze it in, release your left leg all the way out against the ground. And take a full breath right here, just letting that compression happen. And so you might have a little wider knee here, or you might have a more narrow knee in towards your belly. You decide what feels better on your body. And then switch legs, bringing left knee in, right leg extends, and take a couple big breaths. And again, you decide how wide your knee is and what feels the best. And now both knees bend and hold on to your shins, your feet, your knees, and rock side to side. And then set footprints on the ground, drop your knees in together to touch. And reach your arms up overhead toward the wall behind you. Maybe clasp your hands. You can always take that wide place with your arms. But move your shoulder blades onto your back. And close your eyes. Take a full breath and allow your breath to travel the entire length of your spine. And from this place, start to move into a position for Shavasana that would feel really good, that would help you to release, relax, and let go. And again, you can always have your arms open to that Y shape. It could be a cactus or a T. It could be against your sides. Whatever feels the best in your body, to be able to let go of whatever you're holding on to. And bring awareness back to your breath. And move through fingers and toes. Maybe turn your head a little side to side. And slowly bend your knees, roll over to one side, and take a big breath. And gently push yourself all the way back up to your seat. Fingertips connect in this mudra of wholeness or completeness. With your eyes closed, observe your breath moving. Inhaling your breath from the crown to the tail. Exhaling from tail to crown. Inhaling so. Exhaling hum. Have a very peaceful and beautiful day. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.